Welcome to the order of Monday morning. The order of Monday morning. Let me. There we go. Constance and I just got back. So I apologize for being just a little late this morning. We just got back from uh, Trader Joe's. Okay, now the reason that we're shopping uh, weirdly this week is because we are going to do our best between the 25th and December 2nd to not buy anything, uh, from a usual commercially uh, nothing from big stores or anything like that. We're taking part in the blackout thing, sort of a general strike. Okay. Now, I'm sure there's lots of you that will say, well, that it won't do anything and just inconvenience yourself and stuff. Uh, but in history, general strikes have had, if not direct effect, indirect effect at uh, making a making a statement here, and we need to make some kind of a statement. The direction things are going uh, here, so we're just not going to go to any. We're not going to buy very much. Okay. And what we do buy, we're going to buy something locally. Now, the blackout officially starts tomorrow, uh, but because of our logistics and everything else, we will be going to our local co-op tomorrow, where we buy. We're not going to go to Sprouts, which is kind of an organized thing. Uh, but we are going to go to our local co-op, of which we're a member, and it is one of the most uh, wonderful locally sourced produce. So we're going there tomorrow, and we'll probably do our show from the parking lot of the co-op. But after that, right up through December 2nd, we're staying home and eating out of our pantry and what vegetables we can get at the co-op tomorrow. So that's what we did today, and that's because there's certain things that we just have to get at Trader Joe's, and as much as we love Trader Joe's, it's we're going to not go to Trader Joe's between uh, now and December 2nd. Hopefully, enough people will make a little dent, send a little message. Uh, and so if you're in the United States and are capable of making that statement too, we encourage you to do it. It might be something to tell your grandkids that you were part of the Great General Strike. Uh, Blame your situation. Well, I was part of the big general strike. Anyway, tonight will be Monday night magic class. We didn't have one last week because Constance and I wanted to make sure that we caught the first episode of Ken Burns' marvelous documentary, uh, The American Revolution, and we saw the whole thing. And if you haven't seen it, uh, please you can just Google PBS, and you can they have all episodes. You can watch them at your leisure in your underpants if you want. Um, but there will be Monday night magic class tonight. Uh, so if you're in Sacramento and missed last week, that's because there was no Monday night class last week, but there is tonight. Uh, And the subject at last Monday night's class 2 weeks ago, uh, we're sort of opening up the can of worms of Crowley's rites of Eleusis, the seven planetary uh, productions, public productions, okay, that Crowley mounted on two separate occasions at public venues in London. Uh, and since around 1985 or, well, 1980 something, they were started to be mounted again in first in Southern California, then all over where OTO bodies are located all over the world. And so we did Saturn last time. Now it goes down the tree of life order from Saturn, number 3, to Jupiter, number 4. That's what we're going to talk about today. To Mars, number 5, to the Sun, number 6, to the Venus, number 7, to Mercury, number 8, and the final one is Luna at number 9. So we're going to talk about Jupiter tonight, and we're going to sort of read through it. We're not going to get up and dance around. Sorry. But I've been lucky enough over the years to collect certain marginal notes and comments by Crowley and Gerald York and others who were part of the original Crowley cast and crew, I guess. I've got, and this is from the York manuscript, book number 1. And there's, I'm going to read you Crowley's own notes on Jupiter in just a second. But right now, the temple for the rite of Jupiter, the stage anyway, is the Wheel of Fortune. And the Wheel of Fortune would be like that. And at the very east would be the Sphinx. And then at the north and southwest, we've got Hermanubis, that ape, and Typhon. Okay. Now those are like the alchemical elements. And you see the Greek letters for S and T and R are, yeah. Hermanubis, Sphinx, Typhon. Okay. And that really is kind of the alchemical elements of sulfur there for the Sphinx, and Thomas, or salt there for Typhon, and mercury there for Hermanubis. Okay. There's one little poem here I'm going to read because there's lots of poetry in the. Let's see here. In the wheel of heaven revolving, mysteries of death and birth. In the womb of time dissolving, shape anew a heaven and earth, ever changing, ever growing, ever dwindling, ever dear. Ever worth the passion glowing to distill a doubtful tear. These are with me, these are of me, these approve me, these obey. Choose me, move me, fear me, love me, master of the night and day. These are real, these illusion. I am of them, false or frail. True or lasting, all is fusion in the spirit's shadow veil. Till the knowledge lotus flowering hides the world beneath its stem, neither I nor God, life showering, find a counterpart in them. As a spirit in a vision shows a countenance of fear, laughs the looker to derision, only comes to disappear. Gods and mortals, mind and matter, in the glowing bud dissever. Vein from vein they rend and shatter and are nothingness forever. In the blessed, the enlightened, perfect eyes, these visions pass and cease. Poor shadows frightened leave no stain upon the glass. One last stroke, O heart-free master, one last certain calm of will, and the maker of disaster shall be stricken and grow still. Burn thou to the core of matter, to the spirit's utmost flame. Consciousness and sense to shatter, ruin sight and form and name. Shatter, lake-reflected spectre. Lake rise up in mist to sun. Sun dissolve in showers of nectar, and the master's work is done. Nectar perfume gently stealing, masterful and sweet and strong. Cleanse the world in light of healing in the ancient house of wrong. Free a million mortals on the wheel of being tossed. Open wide the mystic portal and be altogether lost. Okay, that's a poem, or part of a poem by Aleister Crowley called Arhan. And it's part of the rite of Jupiter. Let's see. There are characters in the rite of Jupiter that are the characters that are upon the wheel here. And so the temple is the wheel of fortune. At its axle is the altar on which sit the CICT. Now, that's Jupiter himself that sits right in the middle of there. And CICT, depending on if you use a hard K sound for a Latin C, it'd be centrum in centri trigono, or centrum in centri trigono. The center of a center surrounded by three kind of thing. That's Jupiter himself. And those three things revolve around that center. But the Jupiter thing is right in the middle, centrum in trigono centri, and he's unmoved. He doesn't move. He's like the hub of a wheel. And the rest of the wheel is going all around him. There's the Sphinx in a green robe. She plays violin. Okay, that's Leah Waddell. Hermanubis in a violet robe, and he carries a caduceus. There's Mercury. And Typhon, a red robe pronged with a two-forked prong or a sword. So those are the alchemical elements. Okay. So the Sphinx would be up there with her, usually a sword. So, and she would be Sattvas, one of the gunas. Okay. Then there'd be the alchemical salt there, Typhon. That'd be the Hindu guna tamas. And there is the Mercury there, Hermanubis, and that would be the Rajas. Okay. Activity, energy, reason, thought. Tamas is obstruction, mass, sloth, passion, feeling, and sattva, expansion, intelligence, peace, soul, ecstasy. Those are kind of the general buzzwords for salt, sulfur, and mercury. Okay, and those are called the Hindu gunas, and that'll make sense here in just a second. Okay, and here's side notes that I've got here. This is from Crowley's notebooks. Jupiter is the inmost essence. The inmost essence. He is enthroned in the center of the wheel of three qualities, or gunas, of the Hindu philosophy. Jupiter being the Atman. Now, just a white bread definition of Atman. In Hinduism, Atman is the true, unchanging essence or self of a living being, often described as the individual soul. So CICT, it's the individual soul, the true, unchanging essence of self. It is considered eternal and distinct from the physical body and mind, with its ultimate goal being to realize its unity with Brahman, the universal ultimate reality. The path to this realization is known as moksha, or liberation, the central concept of Hinduism. That would be the ultimate, uniting that which is above with that which is below, okay? So the Atman is the inmost self. Now, the relationship with Brahman, Atman is often seen as part or identical to Brahman, the supreme, impersonal, and all-pervading divine reality. Realizing this connection is the key to spiritual enlightenment in many Hindu traditions. Well, we could say in all Hermetic traditions as well. But let me go on. So, he's enthroned in the center of the wheel of the three qualities, or gunas, in the Hindu philosophy. And the slogan of the gunas are, the gunas revolve. These qualities declare their nature. Each fails to reach the center because, as they talk here in the rite, they walk around. They're trying to find the center of the wheel by walking around the outside of the wheel. The gunas are turning, okay? Salt, sulfur, and mercury are acting on each other, okay? In vain, in a sense, in vain if they want to reach the center. Ultimately, behind the veil, the highest quality representing the aspiration of the soul, the Holy Spirit, as the others represent reason and passion. So it's the Sphinx there that represents the soul, and Typhon is passion, and Hermanubis is reason. Salt, sulfur, and mercury. Obtains the secret of Jupiter. The veil again being raised, she declares it to the others. Then, because it's the idea of all of these rites to set the stage for the next rite. And in the myth of Jupiter, or Zeus, Jupiter, Zeus was a son of Saturn, or one of the children of Saturn, but Saturn kept eating his babies. Saturn, above the abyss, kept eating his babies, so there was never uh, there was never creation. There was just potentiality. If one of those babies ever escaped, they would escape into manifest reality or a material dimension. Zeus got himself sprung. Okay, the myth, the Hera or Oops got tired of all this baby eating, and she kidnapped when Zeus was born and broke through the membrane of pre-dimension into dimension and sent Zeus off to a posh boarding school run by a centaur. Well, whatever. Uh, they invoked Dionysus. So Zeus mated with a nymph. Okay, Zeus was really a randy guy. Okay, he literally wanted to mate with everything. That's his job. Okay, and he fell in love with Semele. Okay, who's a nymph, and I think her dad was a river god of some kind, and uh, she got pregnant. Okay. And she didn't know he was God. I mean, he told her he was God, uh, uh, and she was flattered and everything else, and she, but he would never take off his. He had to really put on all sorts of clothes because he's a god. He's so bright that if she actually, saw him just stark naked, his radiance would just fry her. Okay, and uh, but her sisters said, "Hey, every bum in town will sneak into your bedroom and tell you he's God. You know, this guy's not God. He's probably a, you know, pool hustler somewhere. Uh, ask him to take off his all those clothes. Say you really want to see him naked, and uh, and so the next time he comes creeping in, all dressed up with, I guess he had a little trap door for his business, but she says, "Oh, honey, I would love to see you the way you really are. I bet you're just hot." And he says, "Yeah, I'm hot, all right." And he said, "No, I can't do that." She says, "Oh, please." And she sweet talks him, kind of changes the subject and sweet talks him into uh, promising her anything. "Oh, come on, baby, I'll promise you anything." And then she surprises him and says, "Well, if you'll promise me anything, swear by the river Styx that you'll promise me anything." "Okay, I will." Uh, she says, "Show me how you really look." And he said, "Oh, God, no." And he says, and he knows it's going to happen. He says, "Well, you asked for it, and I swore by the river Styx, which is, I'm under contract with something." And so he throws his lead-lined raincoat aside, and she sees him in his full radiance, his scintillating radiance. And sure enough, she starts to crackle like a slab of bacon. Okay, and he said, "I told you so." Uh, but he then realizes that she's pregnant with his son, who is half mortal and half God. That will be Dionysus. That'll be the baby Dionysus. And while she's frying away, he reaches into her melting womb and pulls out baby Dionysus and goes, what do I do with this? And he opens up his own thigh and gestates Dionysus himself as Semele turns into ash. That fall from Zeus now, from Jupiter now, into the next series of rites coming down the tree of life, which will be centered in the sun, which is Dionysus. It'll have to go through Mars first. That is the action of the rite of Jupiter. That's the plot. Okay. Let me see what Crowley says here. They invoke Dionysus. So these three characters, Hermanubis, Sphinx, and Typhon, invoke Dionysus in the rite here, the son of Jupiter, through whom alone Jupiter can be understood. In other words, Zeus is saying, look, I'm just too inscrutable. I mean, I'm just one step away, one generation down from impossibly inscrutable Saturn. No mortal can really understand me, okay? They could, but maybe a half me and half mortal can explain me to mortals. Isn't that what Jesus does? Isn't that Jehovah of number 4, Jupiter, the sphere of Jupiter? Jehovah, you can't even say his name. Jove, Jupiter, Jehovah. But you can understand his son, the Christ consciousness, okay? Okay, they invoke Dionysus, the son of Jupiter, through whom alone Jupiter can be understood. Jupiter appears under the form of Dionysus, the god-man. This rite is then a symbolic demonstration of the mystery of the Trinity. And then there's a break in the notes here, and it says consideration from the rite of Jupiter. Day and hour of Jupiter when he is well aspected. A feast with caviar, figs, goose flesh. And a little diagram similar to that. So, among other things, toward the very beginning of the rite, they actually come out and say, here's how it starts, and this is how I'll end this morning. The Sphinx, they're all set up. The curtain goes up. Okay, there's the Wheel of Fortune and the three characters and the fourth character right in the middle. Kentri Trigono knocks, the Sphinx knocks, Hermanubis knocks, and Typhon knocks. Typhon says, "Hail unto thee, thou great god Hermanubis! Art thou not the messenger of Jupiter?" And Hermanubis says, "Hail unto thee, thou great god Typhon! Art thou not the executor of his vengeance?" Typhon says, "Brother Hermanubis, what is the hour?" Hermanubis says, "Noon." Brother Typhon says, what is the place? Typhon says, the summit of Olympus. Brother Hermanubis, what is thy position? Hermanubis answers, upon the rim of the wheel. And thine? And Typhon answers, upon the rim of the wheel. Let us seek the center of the wheel. And then they start to circulate around the wheel like the gunas turning. Okay, and they go faster and faster, and it becomes a comic thing. The audience even laughs when they trip over their togas and poke each other in the butt if the one in front moves too slow. Okay. So all three of them do it. The Sphinx hasn't said a word yet. Okay. They with the Sphinx rise and walk faster and faster around the rim, returning exhausted to their places. Brother Hermanubis, we are no nearer to the center of the wheel. And Hermanubis answers back, we are no nearer the center of the wheel. Hast thou no message from the gods? None, brother. Let us seek an oracle of the gods. They rise up, go round the rim, stopping and prostrating themselves before the Sphinx. Hail unto thee that hast the secret of Jupiter. Declare unto us, we beseech thee, the mystery whereby we may approach the center of the wheel. And the Sphinx then says nothing, but plays her violin. I'm really looking forward to tonight's Monday Night Magic class here in Sacramento because the rite of Jupiter has become, in our house anyway, more than just one of 7 of Crowley's abstractly composed ceremonies. It was the first rite that we performed. We performed it in our house as the second in the series of the rites being performed again after Crowley's death. The rite of Saturn was performed in the Berkeley area a couple of weeks before this with Caliph Hymenaeus Alpha, Grady McMurtry, being Saturn himself in that. And we were privileged to have Grady and many of the members of that very first rite of Saturn to come down to Southern California and be part of our the celebration of us doing the rite of Jupiter. And since then, it's had a particularly special part or place in my heart. And when we see others do it, our lips move to all to everything. Anyway, that's it. I'm sorry I've been a little late, and I'm sorry I've gone over here, but and I'm sorry I'm still bundled up. It's still cold in the house here. Until tomorrow, it'll be a parking lot Tuesday tomorrow, even though it's the first day of the blackout. Constance and I will be talking to you hopefully from the parking lot of our local co-op, our natural foods co-op. Okay, until then, the order of Monday morning is dismissed. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.